To strengthen the implementation of climate adaptation to food security in 3 French-speaking countries, including Senegal, the SAGA 2 project, the results of a multi-stakeholder and multi-scale partnership supports producers in adapting to the effect of climate change. From Ziguinchor to Matam via Kaffrine, Kaolack and Thiès, the FAO in synergy with Quebec and Senegalese civil society is supporting nearly 1,500 people.
Like many countries on the African continent, Senegal faces major challenges related to climate change, including rainfall variability, soil degradation, and erosion. Extreme weather events impact agricultural production and compromise the livelihoods of populations, particularly rural populations. Faced with this alarming situation, FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, in partnership with the Government of Québec, is implementing the SAGA 2 project.
Le projet SAGA 2 répond aux objectifs stratégiques de la FAO.
The SAGA 2 project meets the strategic objectives of the Food and Agriculture Organization, which include improved production, a better environment, better nutrition, and a better life that leaves no one behind. The project supported the Ministries of Agriculture and Environment in implementing an adaptation strategy through the development of the National Adaptation Plan for the agricultural sector and its implementation strategy in conjunction with the community agricultural cooperatives. The project also supported the mobilization of climate finance from vertical funds such as climate funds and global environmental funds, and the implementation of adaptation projects by training more than 150 agents from 2 sectoral ministries on climate change. We also co-developed an agricultural forecasting and risk management bulletin using climate information.
Agricole et de gestion des risques par l'usage d'informations climatiques.
This multi-stakeholder project builds on the results of the first phase, implemented between 2018 and 2023, and mobilizes government stakeholders, academics, NGOs, and local communities to accelerate adaptation in the agricultural sector.
Le soutien technique et financier du Québec d'un montant de $5 millions.
Quebec's technical and financial support amounting to $5 million, which was implemented through SAGA 1 between 2018 and 2023, has been renewed. Quebec has once again renewed its commitment through SAGA 2, which we are currently implementing for the period of 2023 to 2027 for an additional $5 million across the 3 countries of Senegal, Haiti, and Côte d'Ivoire. All this proves that the FAO-Quebec partnership strengthens agricultural and climate policies and supports civil society and small producers in implementing concrete action for climate adaptation and sustainable natural resource management.
Pour l'adaptation au climat et à la gestion durable des ressources naturelles.
In partnership with the Ministries of Agriculture and Environment, the SAGA 2 project supports climate planning and action in Senegal. The Ministry of Agriculture, Food Sovereignty and Livestock, a key partner in the project, focuses on integrating climate adaptation into agricultural policies.
Grâce au financement obtenu dans le cadre du projet SAGA 2,
thanks to the funding obtained through the SAGA 2 project and in collaboration with the FAO and the Government of Québec, we were able to develop several workshops that allowed us to produce a document. I wanted to emphasize that the strategy was participatory and inclusive, with local communities, the administration, and the various structures of the Ministry of Agriculture participating. The private sector, technical and financial partners, including the FAO, also participated. These various partners not only helped finance the workshop that led to the development of the strategic document, the National Adaptation Plan for Agriculture, but they also participated in its development. They were also with us and shared ideas and reflections that allowed us to produce a consolidated document that was validated by our authorities.
Un document consolidé qui a été validé par nos autorités.
Adapting to climate change is not just a policy issue, it's a daily process on the ground. In this regard, various strategies are being implemented to strengthen the community resilience. Training, production diversification, sustainable management of natural resources, and support for local financing. From Ziguinchor to Matam, via Kafrine, Koualak, and Thiès, the FAO, in collaboration with Quebec and Senegalese civil society, is supporting nearly 1,500 people to better cope with the impact of climate change. To initiate change, the SAGA 2 project focuses primarily on training women producers through the Farmer Field School (FFS) approach and practical sessions. Women and young people are introduced to innovative and sustainable agricultural techniques, which they can replicate and share in their communities. In Thiès, in the villages of Keur Ngore and Keur Sambagay, FAO, in partnership with the NGO Suko and GREM, is supporting the training of 3 women's economic interest groups, EIGs, in micro-gardening.
lépp loo xam te jigéen da koy soxla ci biir këram rek ñun ñu ngi koy bay fii rawatina nag reboisement bi nga xamante ne.
Here, we grow everything a woman needs for her household. We have the nursery that allows us to carry out reforestation activities to restore our forests and better cope with the effects of climate change. And all of this is thanks to the SAGA 2 project.
moo ko indi loolu moom la ñuy jàng fii pour mën a améliorer garab yi ba nga xam te dina dellusiwaat comme na meloon bu njëkk.
culture bi dañ ko diversifier donc am nañu ay légumes comme.
We have several varieties of vegetable crops here: eggplant, onion, tomatoes, sorrel, parsley, garlic, etc. We no longer need to go to the market to buy vegetables. We have everything we need in our homes, and it's healthy, chemical-free food. Plus, micro-gardening provides us with a source of income. Furthermore, it is also an activity that contributes to environmental protection through the recycling of plastic waste.
Des pots en plastique, surtout ça. Donc, dañuy dugg ci wàllu environnement.
These trainings have enabled women not only to replicate agricultural techniques in their farms, but also to produce fruits and vegetables for their own consumption and more.
These lemon trees you see here are as a result of the SAGA 1. It is not just lemon trees. We also have mango trees and other fruit trees. But the lemon trees help us in particular. We harvest a significant amount, and with the sale of this harvest, we manage to pay our electricity bills, our children's schooling, and their supplies.
In the municipalities of Pambal and Noto, the NGO Mère et Monde is supporting the training of 6 women's economic interest groups, EIGs, in agroecological practices using the Farmer Field School Gender FFSG approach.
Nous avons reçu une formation grâce à nos maîtres formateurs qui nous ont bien formés.
We received training from our master trainers who provide us with excellent instructions on good methods, how to adapt to good farming practices, and also how to protect ourselves from climate change. We teach them how to run the nursery, how to apply design method. It is part of good agricultural practices, how to maintain the land, how to work the soil, and how to achieve good yields. We get involved in the work. As a facilitator, we can also become producers because we support them, we work with them, and they get involved.
Parce qu'on les accompagne à travailler avec elles. Elles s'activent.
The project also supports the security of plots and access to water for their fields of application. Before, everything we grew was destroyed or eaten by animals because of our market garden wasn't fenced. Furthermore, for watering, the women got up at 4 a.m. to fetch water. But now, with the SAGA 2 project, our market garden area is well fenced and secure. We have a water tower with several ponds. In addition, the project has allowed us to secure our land, which we almost lost for residential use. To strengthen food security and improve household incomes, the SAGA 2 project supports the diversification of production activities. In the north, in Matam region, a 3-hectare community garden was developed in partnership with CECI, the Center for International Studies and Cooperation, and the Futa Federation of Producers for Development. Initially 80 women, there are now more than 200 women involved in market gardening and tree cultivation under the supervision and commitment of local authorities.
Around Bam, we have 28 other hamlets that depend on the village. When SAGA 2 started, I called an inclusive general meeting so that everyone was informed about the project. Before to find vegetables, we had to travel kilometers to Wurosogi, and you notice the poor condition of the road. But now, thanks to the project, we have a well-equipped market, gardening area, a water supply system, and a solar installation. In
this market garden area, comprising more than 1,420 plots and water basins, women grow sorrel, okra, eggplant, and tomatoes, among other crops, feeding their families while generating income from the sale of surpluses. We have 2 harvest seasons. We have just started our winter season. For the first session, we grew turnips, okra, eggplant, carrots, and other crops. In addition to ensuring our food security, this market garden provides a forum for all the women in this area to meet, exchange, and share. It is also a source of income for us because we harvest the surplus from our produce. Further afield in Casamance, in southern Senegal, specifically in the regions of Ziguinchor, Kolda, and Seydou, the SAGA 2 project focuses on sustainable beekeeping in partnership with CAC Miel, the Casamance Agri-Food Cooperative, and the NGO Soko Davy.
What we did as part of the project, firstly with regard to adaptation to climate change, was to hold training sessions and training modules on 5 themes. All these themes revolve around the issue of adaptation to climate change. The choice of seeds for planting enriched bees, but also how to observe the evolution of colonies and the identification of bee-related disease. Regarding the involvement of women, it was really about implementing the introduction of hives that are adapted to women's conditions. So we introduced Langstroth hives and Kuro hives, which are locally made and adapted to women's physical conditions.
Today, with the knowledge about climate adaptation and training we have received, these producers now use beehive leaves. These beehive leaves contribute to increasing hive productivity. That is one example. The second example is the use of modern equipment. In the beginning, beekeepers, that is, producers, used outdated traditional equipment. For example, the use of fire. So they used the fire to harvest the hives. But today, with the availability of modern and adequate equipment, they use, for example, smokers. They use suits. They use everything necessary to produce a very good honey harvest without really harming the environment. These initiatives enables rural communities to diversify their sources of income while preserving mangrove and forest ecosystems and strengthening resilience to the impact of climate change. At a time when bees are increasingly threatened, also victims of the effects of climate change, brave and determined beekeepers fight alongside queens amidst the deafening buzz. These young trainers and facilitators in the Appliquement initiative promote modern and sustainable beekeeping practices that respect the environment.
I
benefited from training through this program, training on climate change and its impact on beekeeping. I also gained additional knowledge of modern beekeeping techniques. Being a facilitator not only strengthened my leadership skills, but also my technical abilities. It also allowed me to take advantage of sessions with the various economic interest groups to raise awarenesses about climate change and importance. It also allowed me to take advantage of sessions with the various economic interest groups to raise awareness about climate change and the importance of environmental protection. I can say that many things have changed in my approach thanks to the training received through this program, such as the use of case Gaia sheets and the apiary monitoring shuttle. There is the use of waterers for bees. There is also what we call reforestation activities, which we tend to do during the rainy season. And with all these changes, we have noticed an increase in the yield, and there will also be methods of attack such as ants and falcons, etc., less diseases. There would also be ways of integration. The bees won't leave the apiary.
Training women is essential, but we must also empower them. With the Carrefour International and APROFES, the Association of the Advancement of Senegalese Women, the SAGA 2 project supports the provision of management tools for local saving and credit unions. It also facilitates access to revolving funds to finance income-generating activities, purchase inputs, and invest in agricultural equipment. Before, there were many problems in the management of savings banks. We didn't have control over our money flow, but the SAGA 2 project provided us with the management tools. Now, the management of AFEC saving banks is very transparent. We have 6 registrars and standardized internal regulations. We also have a solidarity fund and other fund reserved for fines. All our savings banks have bank accounts. Each year, APROFES and the Federation share approximately 2 billion euros through the AFEC Savings Bank. We have obtained funding for 14 projects. As members of the network, we also benefit from training to strengthen the management and the governance tools of the AFEC funds. Thanks to this training, we no longer lose our money. We are trained and made aware of the importance of preserving the environment and combating the effects of climate change. These trainings also allowed us to understand the importance of an insurance for our farmers. Diversifying production is not enough to achieve sustainable adaptation. Natural resources must also be preserved and degraded land restored. The SAGA 2 project also addresses the challenge of land degradation and declining productivity due to intensifying climate change. In Kahi, in the Kaffrine region, Modou Dieng, like many farmers in the area, was facing soil depletion. The village chief of Pete therefore turned to compost to try to save his struggling crop. Barely a month after sowing, the results are impressive.
You saw the state you found my peanut field in. I planted it less than 2 months ago. The soil used to be very poor, but now you see it has become fertile thanks to the compost. There is a clear difference between the fields where I use compost and those I cultivated with chemical fertilizer. You can already see the yellow flower. Even the peanut pods are starting to develop, whereas before it took 3 months to reach this stage. We are really very satisfied with the composting training.
The same observation is made by Fatu Ndao, a farmer who received composting training. I especially encourage women farmers to use composts. It is a very good alternative to chemical fertilizers, which are more expensive. Compost is very economical. I composted it myself at home by digging a pit 1 meter deep, 2 meters long and 1 meter wide. I then spread the compost over the entire field. Today, I'm really satisfied with the results. In the Kaffrine and Diobel regions, in partnership with the CNCR, the National Council for Rural Consultation and Cooperation, the UPADI, SAGA 2 has established 3 soil health advisory clubs with 20 members per club. These spaces allow producers to learn, share, and adopt best practices to conserve cultivated soils, restore degraded areas, and protect local biodiversity. To successfully achieve this transformation, Senegal can count on a strong international partnership. Alongside the FAO, the Government of Québec plays a key role providing technical and financial support to accelerate agricultural adaptation not only in Senegal but also in Haiti and Côte d'Ivoire.
Les projets que nous réalisons sont en adéquation.
The projects we are carrying out are in line with priority. We really wanted to continue to empower women, to give them much more economic power. Because here, as you know, in Africa, and I would say here everywhere, when women have economic power, you feel it in the home. The children are well educated, we eat well, everyone is happy. So it's the same thing we want to do here. And really I call on our local governments to continue to prioritize women, young people in all their decisions. And climate change is inevitable. We have a choice. We can remain patient or proactive. We have decided through our intervention to be proactive, to work with local people, to raise awareness.
À travers nos interventions, d'être proactif, travailler avec les locaux, sensibiliser les gens.
This collaboration between the FAO, the Government of Québec, NGOs and local communities demonstrates that together it is possible to meet the challenge of climate adaptation. By combining expertise, funding and local knowledge, the SAGA 2 project paves the way for sustainable and inclusive solutions to strengthen the resilience of the agricultural system.
At the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Food Sovereignty and Livestock, we have general priority projects that stem from the Senegal 2050 Plan Transformation Agenda. The implementation is the Food Sovereignty Strategic Plan, the PSSA. Within this PSSA, we have several projects, including community agriculture, cooperatives, storage facilities, and also hydro-agriculture developments. But to come back to the ministry's flagship project, which is a community agriculture cooperatives, during the workshop, the minister insisted on ensuring alignment between the PNA and community agriculture cooperatives. So following the validation workshop, another workshop was also held to ensure this alignment. When you come to the region, to rural areas, you see that the land is red, there is sun everywhere, and that these people manage to carry out agriculture project and earn a living. I think that it can only give us the desire to continue helping. As a representative of Québec government, it gives me the desire to continue helping through the FAO.
À travers la FAO.
Le fait que nous ayons ici au Sénégal ce projet qui nous permet de collaborer avec le Québec nous réjouit.
The fact that we have this project here in Senegal, which allows us to collaborate with Quebec, makes us even more pleased. It also allows universities in Quebec to document the achievements of these projects and to see the real effect of climate change on agriculture and how small producers and communities are coping with these challenges. And we can only hope that the multi-stakeholder partnership, which remains exemplary, will inspire more African countries, particularly here in West Africa, which are facing the same challenges as Senegal regarding climate change, to strengthen the food security of our population who greatly need it. And so, at the FAO, we are proud to continue collaborating with Quebec, and we hope that there will be a third phase that will now allow us to take a sub-regional step forward to also address and provide market access to these small producers and young farmers who have now been able to establish businesses through the agricultural production they have had to undertake.
Qui aujourd'hui ont pu établir des entreprises à travers les productions agricoles qu'ils ont eu à faire.
SAGA 2 is a story of accelerated adaptation driven by women, youth, and producers who are shaping a more sustainable and resilient future every day.